that is available. So I think it's a great idea to try to do some kind of an event and possibly, as you put in here, um, do some kind of workshops, maybe with the Economic Development Commission or the Chamber or something. So focusing on, on some small businesses as well. So good stuff.
Yeah, and to that point, I know that from the small business perspective, there is some follow up that's on, I guess, on our plate, Mark, you and I, and potentially, again, if anyone's interested, if heat pumps is a passion for anybody, if anybody in our universe is a business owner or active with any of our local business associations, what we are thinking of is maybe we could host an event because small business owners are very busy. They don't need to deal with multiple, they want to find out if their building is energy efficient and they're interested in solar and they're interested in a heat pump. They don't want to have to go maybe to three different places to learn about all of that. So maybe if we had a mini trade show, as is written here, it could just be a resource, save time for folks. But there is a lot of work that would be involved in putting something like that together. Or maybe it could even be something a bit simpler as an event at the library. But if you are interested in helping Mark and I on this work stream, please let us know. Baird, what is National Sunday?
Mark's actually has been sitting on the meetings on this, so I can talk about it, but Mark knows more than I
Oh,
do.
I'll flip it to Mark.
Yeah, as you can see there, it's September 21st. It's a series of events being planned across the state. There'll be a big event at Central Connecticut State University with tabling and all kinds of activities. But then
And across the
individual
country too.
across country, yes. Thank you. Yep. Very good. Yeah. And so, but individual towns are encouraged to do uh, individual events, maybe create a solar tour or showcase really any kind of activities. Um, I haven't been to one of the meetings for a couple of weeks, so I don't know what activities are going on. One thought that I had um, in Simsbury, and I don't know if this is something we could ever pull together, but Chris, maybe something for you and Tom to consider is could we ever do a tour of the Tobacco Valley Solar in town, where people could kind of go see what it does, how does it work, how much energy is it producing, is it a good neighbor? Um,
Yeah, I can look into that.
I know we talked about that when they came in. It might be an interesting educational thing, but other than that, I don't know if we want to arrange sort of combine any kind of an event, another tour of Ethel Walker or anything. So we could do any kind of an event in Simsbury on that day. Again, the focus is solar.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And Baird, I just also thought maybe, is there anything in the September issue of the newsletter
Yeah,
related to solar that we could drop in?
yeah. And just in the bigger picture, the author Bill McKibben, who teaches at Middlebury or taught at Middlebury, and has written many, many books, is one of the people who helped to inspire the idea for this. I sent an article in our last meeting written by him, but solar across the world is taking off, and because it's the cheapest form of energy. It's cheaper than gas, it's cheaper than oil, it's cheaper than coal, and so it's taking off. And regardless of the disincentives for solar now that we have in this country, um, that it's a technology that is spreading because it's cheap, it's easy, it's clean, and so it's huge, and it could power a huge part of our country. And so it's in the hope is that we can continue to push the solar revolution forward and create clean, cheap energy for all of us.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Moving on, we get to waste, which is another big pillar that we have been working on for some time. So very excited to hear. I don't know if you've gotten any news back yet, Baird, on the Carton Council grant.
I wrote them this morning, and um, that they still have not made a decision on uh, who's going to get money and who is not. They were supposed to make that decision by the end of June, and then they committed to making that decision by the end of July. And now they're saying by the end of next week. Um, so I'm hoping to hear something. Um, and, I mean, whether we get the grant or not, we're going to go ahead at the high school and continue with our recycling program. And we may or may not start a program with Clink that, especially at our sporting events, they're just hundreds and hundreds of cans and bottles that are each worth 10 cents now, thrown away. And so we may start a program with Clink to collect all that as a fundraiser for the school. But there may be complications with that also, because our fencing coach also collects cans to fund the fencing team, which doesn't get any outside funding. So we may use it to fund the fencing team. So we'll see about that. But Clink works with schools, and so we're thinking it would be a kind of a cool fundraiser, and even like families could bring in their cans and bottles to the school as a donation to the school, and help to support different school projects.
Awesome. I see Mark has his hand up.
If you're talking to them, Baird, you might ask them about, I think it's called Clink for Good or something like that. When Jen and I met with them a while back, there was some feature where I think people could designate a nonprofit as the beneficiary of their, of their credits.
Yeah, and that's exactly true. And it might be a good thing for Squadron and for other schools as well, that if you have a Clink account at Stop and Shop, and instead every time you take, your $7 of cans and bottles to Clink, instead of going into your account, you can designate it to a not-for-profit. So it can go to a school, it can go to some other organization that you support. But it's a great fundraising activity for schools if families just want to donate their cans and bottles to the school via Clink. So yeah, thanks, Mark.
Great, thank you. Anything else on Clink? All right, so just a reminder that we've been working for some time now with Squadron Line on the infrastructure for recycling programs. Also, Baird has been progressing well ahead of that at the high school as we get into back to school timeframe, which is wild, but we're here already. It's time to refresh those basics, especially at the grammar school level or elementary school level, to refresh those recycling basics. And so we'll be in touch with the custodians, the administration, the faculty advisors at Squadron to make sure everything's in place to get the recycling back up and running with the new school year. And I don't know if you have any builds on that, Baird.
No, I mean, just I think the more that we can get signs up and get going. I mean, our hope is Jamie and Jen Wymouth and I met with one of our assistant superintendents. And I think that there was a openness if the recycling program is good works at Squadron, and we continue to make it function at the high school, to spread this to the entire school community. So to all the schools in town, and that would be a huge win. That would be amazing. So that's our goal, and hopefully we can support Squadron and support the high school in making recycling work.
Excellent. All right, and I'm going to let you speak to the next piece on the Small Business Forum and the recycling ideas.
So Jen Wymath and I are trying to see, and I'm hoping Joe Daly can help us out, but Joe's not here today, so I'll talk to him outside this meeting um, about doing something for small businesses. There was some complication with that currently that's going to make it a little bit difficult. That many of the businesses in town are upset with USA Waste that their bills for trash hauling were increased 30 to 50% when USA Waste took over from Paynes, and that at least those businesses feel that the contracts that they had with Paynes were not honored. And so there's some skirmish going on, which I don't really know the full extent of, but it makes doing some recycling work a little bit difficult. I think some of the things that were recommended to us that we could do or should do is to put together a one pager for businesses on recycling. So to look at everything from, where different things can go, what are main things the business are worried about, and just really make it a business focused one page recycling thing. So that was one. And then there was a suggestion that we do something around food for food establishments, and that's everything from restaurants to things like senior homes like McLean's or other places like that that actually serve food, right? And to include both the health district and perhaps CET that does a lot around food waste. So the health district part of that is that a lot of food establishments have food at the end of the day. They have sandwiches, donuts, bagels, whatever they have, salads, that they'd be really interested in passing along to people to eat because it's still edible. But there are food regulations around passing food around, and they don't necessarily know what those regulations are. So the suggestion was to do something that would bring in both the food waste side. So what do you do if you have to throw it out? But also what can you contribute to food banks, to soup kitchens, to different entities that might help with folks who need food. So those were the big suggestions coming out of this. And perhaps to do something that highlights some of the local businesses that are kind of our local superstars, like Weldon's takes batteries to recycle, which we should probably highlight for residents. Mars, the paint store, takes paint back, so we should probably highlight that. But to see if there are other business kind of superstars in our town that we can promote and highlight and use as examples of recycling pioneers or recycling superstars in our town. Sorry, Jamie's trying to catch up with typing.
You can dump in the paint store later. Okay. That's why Google Docs is so delightful. Anything else on Main Street?
The last thing under that, I met with the head of the director of Simsbury Land Trust with a project that I'm doing at Simsbury High School. But while I was doing that, I asked her about what they do around recycling, since obviously keeping our lands free of trash is an issue. And we were invited to write an article. They put out a newsletter in February that goes to the entire town. So it goes to every resident in this town on recycling. And I spoke to Jen about writing it, and she agreed that to write it. So, it's just kind of a basic thing. I think a lot of people still don't understand recycling, and especially now that we've moved haulers, kind of what can be recycled and what does get recycled and what doesn't get recycled. Um, that would be good. So they're willing to do that. So, and Jen's going to write that up.
Great, thank you. And miscellaneous things that we have on our agenda, on our plate. Tri-board presentation by the end of the year, letting them know what we've been working on. And the newsletter, which is an ongoing labor of love from Baird and other of our partners at the Green Coalition. The August newsletter is up, and September newsletter will have a focus on housing. So curious, I don't know if there's anything that can relate back to what Holly mentioned at the top of the call. So potentially there's some, or are you thinking housing more in the sense of like energy efficient housing?
More energy.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
very curious. I'll be looking for that. But our focus will be on the affordability aspect.
Got it. All right. And Baird, you're saying that this is about more on the energy efficiency of houses. Yes.
Correct.
Gotcha. All right. And to that point, it looks like there's a thought of maybe, sorry, before we move off of newsletter, just again, a reminder, if anyone is interested in helping to write, edit, publish, spread the word of our newsletter, please let us know. And then we'll move along to the Green Coalition meeting. So it looks like, is there an opportunity so the Green Coalition, just as a reminder, are sort of the like-minded groups that are working here in Simsbury, whether it's the Grange, the Bike Ped group, the Pollinator Pathway. So all of those partners in our work together, many of whom are at our library fair in May each year. It sounds as if maybe there's interest in a group discussion. Is that correct, Baird?
Yeah, I just put that on there. Fall is usually a really busy time for everyone because, outdoors and activities and all kinds of stuff. But, come January, February, things slow down for most of the groups. And I was thinking that might be a good time to meet again. I think Mark and I met with the representatives from most of those groups that Jamie mentioned, from the Grange, the Land Trust, the Bike Ped folks, and the Farmington River Watershed Association, and just to coordinate and see where we can support each other better. It's been great for the pollinators to kind of take over the last 5 issues of the newsletter. And certainly we want to open that up to other groups that are interested. The Farmington River Watershed Association now has a calendar, and they've invited us to be part of that, which is awesome. And so there are a lot of just little ways that we're collaborating already, but to see if we can kind of deepen that collaboration and make it more vital, or just help to support different causes that each of the groups is championing.
And that's also good timing, Baird, as we go into fully prepping for the next sustainability fair in May of 26.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else related to the work streams? Do folks feel like there's something missing that we should be capturing here? All right. I will stop sharing this then and get us back into our agenda. Bear with me one moment. Great, thank you. So we had the waste working group update on here as well. We've covered a lot of that in the committee work plan. And also Joe is not here, Jen is not here. So I'd say, Baird, unless there's anything else you wanted to add specific to the topic of the waste working group, we could move along.
Yeah, nothing else.
Okay, great. And that leads us to open forum. Anything for discussion today? I don't see any hands, but please let me know if I'm missing anybody. All right, in that case, then, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
We should adjourn.
All
I
right, so
second.
Baird, motion to adjourn. Who seconded?
Mike, seconds.
Thank you, Mike. All those in favor? All right. Anyone opposed? All right, well then thank you all very much for your time. As always, enjoy these last few weeks of summer, and we will see each other back in September.
For over 40 years, SCM has been the voice of our town,
bringing us together through local programming,
education,
and live broadcasts.
SCM isn't just about television.
It's about empowering our community,
ensuring our voices are heard during government meetings,
and celebrating milestones
like our high school graduations.
But today, SCM faces a challenge.
Our funding structure is based on television subscriptions.
And it's no secret, people have been cutting the cord.
With a shift to internet-only subscriptions,
SCM receives less revenue,
even though all our programming is freely available online.
We need your support.
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 Your donation can make a difference.
It will ensure that SCM remains open,
continues to educate our youth,
and keeps our community informed.
Thanks to SCM, I've been honing my creative skills, helping me work towards my college degree.
SCM is crucial for keeping our community connected.
SCM isn't just here to broadcast local events. They're actually preserving Simsbury's history.
Join us.
Join us in preserving Simsbury's voice.
Simsbury's voice.
Together we can ensure that SCM continues to thrive
for generations to come.
Visit our website
or scan the QR code on your screen to make your donation.
Every contribution
counts.
Thank you for supporting Simsbury Community Media,
where your town,
your schools,
and your government come together.